So Gordon Ramsay is a celebrity chef in Great Britain who recently got into some hot soup with Malaysian netizens, simply for being a rapacious capitalist and an awful human being, quite frankly. So it was discovered recently by the Malaysian journalist Jam Lim that Gordon has not only been cutting veal chops and cutting pork chops, he's also been undercutting his staff. Charging an exorbitant 300 to 400 ringgit per meal and paying his workers peanuts, a measly 1,500 ringgit to 2,100 ringgit a month. So, I'm going to get into the article that was written on this issue, and I'm going to give you my commentary after that. Okay? Let's get into it. Gordon Ramsay Bar and Grill restaurant at Sunway Resort accused of paying only 1,500 ringgit a month in wages, by Ashley of Weird Kaya. Okay, let's go through the article and I'll give you my analysis as we go along. Many often have the perception that high-end restaurants would pay their staff lucrative salaries due to its opulent menu and ambiance. However, that couldn't be further from the truth after it was revealed that the newly opened Gordon Ramsay restaurant, a bar and grill at Sunway Resort, pays its staff a paltry 1,500 ringgit wage. Right. To give you some perspective, the average fresh grad in Malaysia earns, around 3,000 ringgit to 4,000 ringgit, give or take. Now, depending on your job scope, depending on your job scope and your qualifications, the average fresh grad takes back around 3,000, 4,000 ringgit. We're talking about white collar fresh grads, yeah? 1,500 is not even enough to cover, rent and food and all of that. So it's a really, really low wage. It's considering the cost of living in KL, renting a room alone will set you back like at least a few hundred ringgit a month, right? Now factor in your transportation and food and all of that, and you have nothing at the end of the month. The matter was first brought to light on Tuesday in a tweet by Jam Lim, the former editor of TechWire Asia. In the tweet, she included a TikTok video by Ivor Sians, who went to the Gordon Ramsay Bar and Grill at Sunway Resort to try out its menu. So, according to the video, one slice of beef Wellington cost 300 ringgit, which is funny. That's a lot more than what these people make in a day. The people serving the beef Wellington, alienated from the very goods that they produce. Mashed potatoes, not produced, but alienated from the very goods that they serve to their customers. Mashed potatoes for 40 ringgit. Jesus Christ, man. 40 ringgit, you can get like a whole meal at a proper restaurant, at a proper steakhouse or Japanese restaurant. You can get a whole steak and potatoes for 40 ringgit. Jesus Christ. And most shockingly, 36 ringgit for a bottle of mineral water. Jesus Christ, you can get 36 bottles of mineral water for that price. Good grief, this is daylight robbery. I'm glad I don't fall for all these fads. Good God. You'd think that with such sky-high prices, the staff would be wallowing in cash every single month. Unfortunately, Jam went on to reveal how much the upscale restaurant actually pays its workers. In two postings uploaded by the restaurant, it showed that a hostess only gets paid between 1,500 and 2,100. Right. Whereas a sous chef was paid between 5,500 and 7,700. Well, considering that you are charging like 300 ringgit for a meal, you are making hundreds upon hundreds of that which you pay your workers, right? So, okay, this obviously didn't sit well with Jam, who called the wages exploitative, right? There's no other way to put it. She is absolutely right. These are exploitative wages, right? Because let me tell you this. These wages, as I said in my previous video, the capitalist pays you as little as possible as he can get away with, because the very nature of capital is exploitation. The very nature of capitalism is the pursuit of profit at all costs. Okay, the Gordon Ramsay restaurant in Malaysia charges $300 ringgit per slice of beef Wellington, $40 for mashed potatoes, $36 for water, but pays staff, wait staff, 1.5K, sous chef, 5.5 to 7K. Exploiting third world labor much? Yep. She's hit the nail right on the head. Absolutely. To further put things into perspective, she wrote that 5 slices of beef Wellington totaled to 1,500, which was the minimum monthly wage for a waiter. Yeah, I mean, these people produce dozens upon dozens of beef Wellington slices a day, right? So you see what I mean? Oh, good job, Jam. I mean, it was good job to this Jam Lim TikToker. Please follow her TikTok. Okay, the tweet has since blown up online, where it garnered more than 13,000 likes and 12,000 retweets at the time of writing. Good. Share that Twitter, share that tweet, share her TikTok. I'll put a link in the description box. Share this video. Many netizens were outraged by the salaries and agreed that it was a form of exploitation. They also expressed shock at how much customers were charged for certain items, such as a bottle of water. Right. With that ridiculous price, you should charge, you should pay them at least 3,000 ringgit a month. Yep. Some also blame Gordon Ramsay for allowing such exploitation to take place. However, one netizen pointed out that it was Sunway Resort's fault that the Michelin chef merely paid to have his name displayed on the restaurant and didn't manage it. Okay, right. Gordon has no control over the salary. It should be Jeffrey Chia. They pay Gordon to leave the name only. But here's the thing. He should know what's going on in the restaurants. If he is benefiting off these restaurants, then he is equally guilty by association. You see what I mean? Okay, now I'm going to stop this point and I'm going to give you my commentary. Okay, here's my take on it. Even if Gordon Ramsay is not directly affiliated with this restaurant, even if they're only using his recipes and his trademark, you know, but they're paying him royalty fees, he is still equally guilty as Jeffrey Chia. Yes, he and Jeffrey Chia are both parasites, right? Who live off the sweat, blood, and tears of the workers. You know, Jeffrey Chia being a local parasite and Ramsay being an imperialistic parasite from a global north country. But make no mistake, and if Jeffrey Chia wants to sue me, he can. I have nothing he can sue me for anyway. I've got no money he can sue me for. Both people are basically exploitative parasites, of course, but don't you think for a minute that Gordon Ramsay should be let off the hook, right? Because if he's being paid royalties for them to use his name and his trademark, he knows exactly what's going on, right? And if Gordon Ramsay opens up a restaurant in Asia, in a global south like Southeast Asia, he's not opening up his restaurant, his exorbitant restaurant in our country, in order to share the cultural cuisine of Great Britain with us. He's not doing that because which working class proletariat in Malaysia can pay 300 ringgit for a meal? Huh? That's more than I spend in a week on food, right? Which working class worker drone pays 300 ringgit? At the end of the day, who who gets to enjoy the fruits of the labor of the people who work at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant? Is it the masses of Global South people in which the Global South outlet of the restaurant opened? Or is it the elites, the bourgeoisie of this Global South country for whom this food is meant, right? Because let me tell you this. This is what we mean by another form of imperialism. It's not military imperialism, but rather capitalist imperialism. Like as Vladimir Lenin said, imperialism is really the highest stage of capitalism. Because capitalists have figured out that they can basically offshore their products, open up outlets in developing countries, in developing Global South countries, and they can pay the workers as little as possible, while at the same time charging exorbitant prices for the products they produce, to the extent that the workers themselves are unable to afford the goods that they produce, right? But at the same time, they cater basically to the elites, to the bourgeoisie of these Global South countries. That is the whole point of these people like Gordon Ramsay, or people like, like Salt Bay, and people like all these exploitative Global North capitalists opening up branches in third world countries, or second world countries in our case. It's not for the benefit of the masses. It's not to share their Western horticultural cuisine with the masses by introducing affordable options for them. No, it's purely to line their own coffers with profit, to get away with paying staff as little as possible, and basically to cater to the privileged, parasitic bourgeoisie of these countries, right? That's the whole point. So no, Gordon, you are not innocent in all of this, yeah? Even if you are only paid for your name to be used and for your recipes to be used, you are still complicit in this by association, Gordon. You are still a parasitic, imperialist, capitalist, and you are just as bad as Jeffrey Chia, right? You're just as bad, you're just as exploitative, and you are just as much of a parasite as any of our local bourgeoisie, okay? Thank you.